Hey, good evening, everybody. John here at Havoc Maker Studio and FNP Wargamers. So, this is kind of a redo. I don't think it's a redux. I'm not even sure if I'm saying it right. Redo video for Nick Fury Jr. and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Kind of a breakdown video. So, all over the place. There were some problems with my microphone. So, let's just dive into this. That other video is going to be brought down just for the purposes of efficiency and also so we don't confuse people. So Nick Fury Jr. and Agent Shields are going to be coming out. If you want to delve into the history, this is about Nick Fury Jr., the version that we kind of see with the Marvel or not Marvel Crisis Universe, well, Marvel Crisis Universe, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is a holdover from the Marvel Ultimates universe. That is where the creators came up with a version of Nick Fury taking on the semblance of Samuel L. Jackson. Now, originally, Nick Fury was a white guy, and he was as far back as World War II. He ran around with, after some later comics, he ran around with Wolverine and, of course, Captain America and Nick Fury's Howling Commandos, a specialized unit. You saw them in the first Captain America movie, believe it or not. Most of those people, like Dum Dum and a couple of the others, they were actually members of the Howling Commandos under Nick Fury's leadership. And then he took the Infinity Formula, and that's why he lives long. I think the Infinity Formula, I'm still holding true to this, is a part of the Super Soldier project. Because there's many iterations that got retcon later on to where Isaiah Bradley was actually a Captain America before Captain America when they were doing some unethical experimentations on Black Americans before they moved on to white Americans, but that was back in the day. Isaiah Bradley Jr., which both those characters you've seen in the Falcon Winter Soldier Disney Plus TV show. Would eventually has become Patriot. See, the Super Soldier formula has skipped a generation, is now inside of him. So stronger, faster, tougher. Not quite on Captain America's level, but he is basically has the Super Soldier formula in him. Excuse me. So now let's get back to this. So Marvel Crisis Protocol has put out the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., S.H.I.E.L.D. agents for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and of course Nick Fury. So let's take a look at Nick Fury first. And I'm going to go ahead and just pull up a second window here. Now, his injured side, the only difference between his dazed side, which I always call my injured side, and his healthy side is the health. On the healthy side, he has 6. On the dazed side or injured side, he has 5 health. That's not relatively uncommon. You're now wounded, you gotten smacked around enough that you're wounded, usually have low health. There are very few characters that get a boost in health over the loss. So, reading left to right, top to bottom, like we do here in the West, he has 6 health, 11 total, counting the day side. Medium movement, which is normal, and size 2. This is very normal for a regular hero level character or regular size character. 4 threat, that's his point value, 4-point value, for those of you who like to use points, which is high, but given his abilities, it kind of makes sense, I think. We'll see later on. Now, this is where, I guess, where this 4 threat comes in, I think, more than anything else, besides his ability to call allies, which we'll get to in a moment, is his physical resistances. His resistances are really high. So his physical defense is a 4. This is where you see the little red fist there. The energy resistance or defense is a 3, and Mystic is a 4. I don't necessarily agree with this. I don't see any reason for. I could see it being 3-3 of 4 for resistances or defenses, but 4-3-4 seems a little high. It could be the reason why they gave him that higher threat. I don't think he should have a higher physical resistance. There's other characters that should have a higher physical resistance that doesn't, that are just normal or barely normal characters. They have a little bit of superhuman endurance and such. But neither here nor there. I'm not Atomic Mass Games. I don't make the character. So his first attack, all of his attacks are physical attacks. First one is the Fury Special, range 3, 5 dice, and 0 cost. Not a big deal. That's pretty standard. And after this attack is resolved, this character gains 1 power. This is fairly typical. Either you do one, either no matter what, after the attack is resolved, you gain power, or you do damage and you get power equal to damage. It's one or the other. It's rarely both. And I think there are more characters, and I'll maybe have to do another video on that later where we kind of break down all the different characters, but I'm fairly certain there's more characters that do this type of basic attack, or of the attack where you get power equal to your damage dealt versus this type. Okay, also with the Fury Special, if you happen to roll the wild symbol, that's a little swirly symbol on there, you get the Pierce ability, which allows you to change one of the defending character's defense dice rolls. So when you roll your dice, you're looking for the critical success, the wild symbol, or the defense symbol to resist the attack. So you get to change one of those to a blank. Very handy, unless you're going up a character that counts blanks as successes, so it wouldn't even matter. But this is still very good. It's still a very good chance, especially with 5 dice. And it's not even saying that any of this you have to do damage. You can get the Pierce off, which will help you do the damage. But just in case you don't do the damage, you can still gain 1 power just by doing this. His next one is, he's one of those rare characters who can do both. It's called Tactical Knife, range 2. So this is more close combat. It is 5 dice also and a 0 cost. Really good. After this attack is resolved, you gain power equal to the damage dealt. I was talking about that just a minute ago. Cool. Now, here's the other cool thing about this ability is that regardless if you did damage or not, if you rolled the wild symbol, first off, you're going to get Pierce, which will help you do the damage, just like Fury Special just said that. But also, if you get the wild symbol, you're going to inflict bleed. And whether you've done damage or not, but after the attack is resolved, they get the bleed special condition, and which means you take damage every turn, or after every character or every game phase, every game turn. That is awesome, unless of course the character's immune to it or they do something to get rid of it, which is not awesome, but still it's a nice little extra bonus. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it always goes off as long as you rolled the wild symbol. Now the last ability, Lead from the Front. This is going to be a good card that's going to apply later. It's range 3, so relatively close. I think it's about under 6 inches, but over 4. I think it's maybe about the 5 range. 7 dice that you're going to roll for potential damage, and it's going to cost you 3 power. Relatively cheap, especially for what it does. Now, after this attack is resolved, an allied shield agents, not agents of shield, but shield agents character within range 3, which we're going to talk about here in a moment, of this character may advance short towards the target character. Whoever you just shot or punched or kicked or threw daggers at or grenades, whatever your narrative is, those shield agents are going to get a free movement towards them. That's really nice. Now, the other cool thing about this, and getting free movement for yourself or for other characters after you've activated ability, is gold. That is such a great ability. I'd put it in like the top 5 abilities that you can get. I'd say the only other one that I think is top is your ability to deactivate or negate somebody's superpower. So once the shield agents have made that move, they can then attack with their pistols against that targeted character. Their pistols aren't all that super great, but you know what? And I've said this before in many videos and for many games, the more dice you make your opponent roll for defense, the greater the chance that you are going to cause them a failure. And even if it's just a minor failure, it's still a failure. 1 point of damage is 1 point closer to a dazed or a KO'd character. At least in Marvel Crisis Protocol for reference. Other games, it could be just a simple elimination of the character, like if you're playing like Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Spectre Ops, that sort of thing. So that's really cool. It's a free move. It's a free activation of the shield agents because you get a move, which is an action, and you get to shoot, which is an action. So it's a free activation. And then it gets to still activate if they haven't activated yet. That's awesome. So he has an ability called Last Line of Defense. This is the shield affiliation. We still don't know a whole lot about it, who's on it or who's not. We can speculate Hawkeye and Black Widow should at least be on it. Who else? We're not sure yet. Now, this is a very interesting double stacked power depending on certain conditions. If you have fewer victory points than your opponent, the first time each round that an allied character, that's one of yours, is dazed or KO'd by an enemy effect, after the effect is resolved, you score a victory point. So even if you're losing, you're still gaining some points. So you won't, that will help keep you relatively in pace with your opponent, giving you that extra little edge, that extra chance to maybe outscore them or tie. Now, the other part of this is if you have an equal number or more victory points than your opponent, when an enemy character damages an allied character with an attack, the allied character may spend 1 power. If it does, after the attack is resolved, the allied character may advance short range towards the attacking character. That's really cool. That's that free movement. That's free movement. Well, 1 power, but once the game gets going, you're going to start generating a lot of power. So his superpower, if that's what that symbol is call in the cavalry. And this is caused a little bit of worry in the beginning. Probably there's some confusion right now, I think, going around. Even I was confused at first, but I think we got it. Now, call in the cavalry is going to cost you 2 power, relatively cheap. You can probably start popping this off, I would say probably turn 2. Probably turn 2. You might be able to get this up to 3, maybe 4 times. I think 3 and 4 is pushing it, probably twice. So if there's no allied shield agents character in play, place it within range 3 of this character with an activated token. That means they're already activated. It may immediately interact with 1 extract objective token. It is a part of your squad. So he's automatically activated, but it may immediately interact with 1 extract. So if you are close enough, you summon them, get them on that extract, let them have that objective token, so you're automatically going to be scoring. Now, they're not so tough, but it's okay. You at least denied your opponent that token. His last thing is Innate Ability, Director of Shield. When an allied shield agent character is within range 3 of this character, it may reroll one of its attacks or defense dice. And this character gains 1 power, that means Nick Fury, whenever the allied character deals damage or suffers damage. So you can see he's going to be able to he's got a greater chance of generating power. That's really, really important, especially as, and we're going to go back here. In the next video, we're actually going to show off the grunts and kind of break it down a little bit more. Now, this is the first of the characters that's going to be having the squads. This is obviously Nick Fury. This is the shield agents. We also have at least confirmation that the Daredevil and Elektra are going to be coming out with the ninjas. Actually, we're going to go ahead and go into the shield agents. Why not? Let's go ahead and do it. And I'll talk more about the grunts in the next video. So shield agents. Now, this character is deployed by Nick Fury. He does not. They do not start off on the table. And if there's not one on the table and they just got KO'd, when you're able to summon another one, you can do it. They can keep coming back. There's a lot of things that they can't do, and we're going to get into that in a moment. But you should be able to get them off at least twice. I would say at least twice, maybe 3 times. So top to bottom, left to right, 2 health, so they're easy to knock out. And once they're knocked out, by the way, or they're dazed, they're considered knocked out. So you take them off the table, they're done. But once you are able to activate Nick Fury again, spend 2 power, you can bring him back. They got medium movement and they're size 2, totally normal. 1 on all defenses. Okay, I mean, they're not like superhuman. They have like this weird flexible, basically it's like Kevlar bodysuits. so not can't really take uh, laser blast or optic blast and such. So their only attack is pistols. This is range 3. It's 4 dice, low, but you know what? This is an inexpensive, being a zero cost character and zero cost power. So you know what? That 4 extra dice, that's that potential to increase the probability of having your opponent fail and taking damage on the characters. Really cool. So they have 3 innate abilities. One is Grunt's new Nick Fury. The first one is Buy You Time. When this character drops an objective token, its controlling player places it on the battlefield instead of their opponent. Really good, because that means you can at least, we're dead, we're down, and then you drop the objective token, you toss it towards the boss. So you can get it a little bit closer to the boss, get it away from the enemy so they cannot get it. That's a very good key ability that allows contesting and denying objectives. And the other one is Shield Operatives. This character cannot secure objective tokens. Cannot contest secure objective tokens. So Extract is where it's at. This character does not have to pay power when interacting with a civilian or an asset token. Cool, makes sense. These are very limited. I am very happy with how these characters are. And I'm very happy with the mechanic that they've installed for these agents. A lot of people were a little bit concerned that it was just going to overbalance the game. It was going to turn into, say, Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar. The game was going to get super bogged down. It's not. This is actually a very good thing for the game, because now we're involving more of the Marvel universe, including the cinematic universe, the novels, the video games, the cartoons, everything involved with the universe is now starting to get drawn in. Now, most of the time, what we have seen, actually, I would say every time that we've seen new character stuff comes out, it's actually pulling from the comics, not necessarily the MCU. Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think the only thing really that we've seen is some pull over costume wise, but not those versions necessarily of the character. We're getting the full on Marvel 616 universe characters. So I'm very happy about that. This is low key, but I think not low key, but low key. I'm thinking that this is a good thing, actually, obviously, for the game. I'm interested. I'm going to try to talk to some of the meta players. When I say meta players, by the way, I am not using a derogatory term. This is just the people that are very efficient with their list building. They look at all the best combinations for their characters, so when they play the game, they can have the greatest outcome possible. These are also like tournament players, league players, that sort of thing. Versus the non-meta players, I just call them the casual players. These are the ones that like the narrative games, or I just want to field Luke Cage and Red Skull and Miss Marvel because this just all sounds good to me. So that's what I like to run with. Not me personally, I'm just saying with the casual guys. So that is good regardless of however you play, but I'd like to get the perspective from the meta players, because I think that there are some key things that I'm obviously missing, because I don't have hundreds of hours. Well, I doubt they have hundreds of hours of gameplay, but they definitely have hundreds of hours of sitting on the golden throne and reviewing all the different tactics cards and the different character cards and coming up with the best possible, most efficient combination. So there's some good potential here, I think, but this is the early stages of the grunts. So we still need to actually see them in action. We need to see them on the table first. We can speculate all day that they're going to be amazing or they're going to be horrible. They're somewhere in between. And we also will need to see what the team tactic cards are that come with this. There's 10, the most that's ever come in a box. And we also need to see what the Shield affiliation or who's involved in that. What characters besides obviously Nick Fury are we set up for Agent Hill and getting more Shield agents, or is the Natasha Romanoff or the Black Widow agent of Shield, is she on there? Is Hawkeye on there? Are we going to be getting Quake later on? And Quake can be on both Shield and Inhumans. There's a lot of possibilities here. So who's going to be joining? Who's going to benefit from this? And how does that interact not only with the team cards, but with Nick Fury and the Shield agents? A lot of great potential coming down the line, so stay tuned. I've got another video I'm going to be working on here very shortly, and it's going to be covering the grunts a little bit more in depth and talking about the future of grunts and what that holds for you or what it might hold. Anyways, you guys have yourself a wonderful day. I'll see you in about an hour with our next video. Chat with you guys later.